Hello, hello, my lovely Year 2 artists. Welcome to part 3 of our Textiles art project, where we're taking inspiration from germs and microbes. We've been shaping our fabric art pieces and we've been joining them using glue, and now we're ready to do our final decoration, and for that we're going to use a needle. It needs to be a nice big needle with a nice big hole, because we're going to be using thick embroidery threads that we need to poke through that hole to sew with. Okay, and there'll be lots of colours you can choose from. You'll need some textile scissors and some beads. We've practiced decorating with some stitching and with beading, like when we did our mask project inspired by the artist Ruth Cuthand. She created beautifully beaded masks during the global pandemic. So we're going to add the stitching and beading for the last bits of decoration to our felt germ or microbe. And you need to have a think, where's it going to look good? Where do I need to decorate? Where else needs a little something added with the stitching and beading? So I'm ready to go. I'm going to show you my example, and I'm going to show you some stitching first, and I'm looking at the different colour threads, and I'm choosing one I think will stand out and look good against the other colours. And I'm threading my needle, and what I want is double thickness of thread. So I get a nice long piece of thread, snip it off there, and I'm tie a knot by looping it twice round, double fingers, and putting a knot in the end. So it's a nice thick knot, and I'm thinking, where do I want to put my first stitch? And if I put my needle in and don't like it, as long as I don't pull it all the way through, it's not a problem. I can poke it back. There's my first stitch. Now, some of your stitches might be really, really big, or you might want to do little tiny stitches. It's up to you of what you think your textiles art piece needs. What does it want? Big stitches, little stitches? Does it want crossed stitches? Does it want lots of different colour stitches? You can change colours anytime you want. Just have a look where you think it needs some more decoration. You can look back at the pictures of the microbes to get some more ideas, but remember, we're being inspired by the microbes. We're not copying them, we're taking inspiration from them. So I think that's all the stitching I need. I'm just going to do some beading now. I'm using the same piece of thread, and I'm just carrying on, and remember how to sew on our beads, poking it through the thread and doing a stitch. Now you can change colour beads, you could stick to the same colours, you could have every single bead a different colour. It's up to you what will look good on your work. And you might want to put loads and loads and loads, or you might want to just put a few, like I've done on this. I've actually only done 6 stitches for decoration and 3 beads, but that's enough. Now remember to cast off. This is where you sew over and over, doing tiny stitches over and over again on top of the last stitch that you did, to make sure that it doesn't all fall off. Do that before you snip your needle off. So there you go. You might want to keep it simple like mine, with only a few stitches and a few beads, or you might want to do lots and lots. It's up to you. I'm going to show you some different ones that I did now as well, to give you some more ideas. So on this one I did more stitching, where I did rows of stitching to make patterns. I also then added some triangle shapes as well with the stitches, and then some beads along the red lines. I sort of scattered those along. So that was a nice one to do. There you go. You can see that. Sort of used yellow beads and the orange stitching. On the next one I wanted to go around some of my shapes, so I stitched here some nice bright pink thread around some of the blue squares. I then stitched on some beads, purple colour beads, in some of the squares as well. Sometimes leaving some things where you've not decorated, it's quite effective instead of doing all of it. Just see what you think. And then the last one I did was based on the COVID virus, the microbe, and I started off by doing some purple stitching and then crossed over those stitches with some orange thread as well. I then used some different colour beads, orange, green and purple, which I stitched on all over, and I really like that one. And what I want you to do is not worry at all about what the back looks like. The back doesn't matter, it's the front that's important. I made 4 different microbes to give you some ideas. You're just going to make one. But I want you to have a go of laying them all out as a group piece like we did with our paper cutouts when we were taking inspiration from Matisse with his beautiful cutouts. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a play around shaping them, putting them next to each other. I'll get you a big long piece of fabric and you can use those pins, remember those safety pins, just pin them onto the fabric, making sure they look good all together. And because they're pinned on, you can move them around if you want to change the composition, the way that you lay them all out. So make your temporary display on a big piece of fabric, but what I'd like to do is I'm going to come round and have a look at all your displays, and I'm going to choose some of the best ones and I'm going to get them stitched onto a big piece of fabric to go on display somewhere around the school and show off our work to everyone else, all of our friends. Okay, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this project and I cannot wait to see all your beautiful textiles art. Right, bye everyone. Good luck with the project.